Hi, everybody. I am John Rindy, Director for Career Education and Development at Slippery Rock University. And this video is one in a series for the SEA Academy, the Digital Masterclass for Spring 2020. And the video might live on beyond that, so it might be beyond Spring 2020 when you view it. But in any case, this particular video talks about resumes. Now on the screen in front of you, you're seeing the basic resume that we teach in Career Education and Development. We are located in Bailey Library, 108 Bailey Library. There are 3 ways to get an appointment. We are free to students. We are free to alumni as well. And those 3 ways are to call us. That's the best way. 724-738-2028. Always call that number and none of the individuals in the office because we cannot schedule our own appointments. Everything is done at the front desk. Number 2, you can so stop by the front desk at 108 Bailey Library. Number 2, I should say, call 2028, or you can go onto your Handshake account. Students have Handshake accounts, sru.edu/handshake, or you can use the Handshake app. We won't get into all of that today. Alumni can request Handshake accounts, sru.edu/handshake, and request an alumni account. There's jobs, there's internships on there, and you can sign up for appointments and to attend career events. Now, we're really going to focus down on resumes. Why do we teach this basic resume? There's a variety of reasons we teach this basic resume in career education and development. A lot of people go out and Google how to build a resume. Bad idea, really bad idea, because you have an office filled with experts who do nothing but study the labor market and then come back and teach you what you need to know. Now, you're going to get advice from all sorts of people on how to build your resume. Don't listen to them, and here's why. My office works with 3,000 employers. We study what they say, and then we come back and teach you what they say. If you take advice from other people, you are getting their opinion on what should go on a resume. Even if you talk to somebody who's a human resource expert or who's a recruiter from a company, you are getting their personal opinion or their company's opinion. The resume building that we teach is a resume that will work across the entire scope of all of business, nonprofit, human services, healthcare. What we teach will work in any realm. Now, of course, there's going to be adaptations to and from depending upon what your major is. So let's talk about this Amelia Earhart example. We have her name very prominently at the top. We have her address left justified and her phone and email right justified. And the reason we do that is to spread out everything and create a lot of white space. Now, fundamentally, there's 2 things you need to know about who's going to be reading your resume. Number 1, the first thing that's going to happen is your resume is probably going to go through a resume scanning system or an ATS, an applicant tracking system. That is why this resume is free of, it has none, lines, colors, graphics, pictures, QR codes. It's not in a PDF. All of those things can denigrate your chances, can reduce your chances of actually getting called for an interview because a lot of those applicant tracking systems simply cannot read resumes that have color, lines, graphics, pictures, QR codes, templates, any of that. And typically you don't want to upload as a PDF even if it says it's okay, because those systems read your resume, look for the knowledge, skills, abilities, and experience that are in the job description, and then they score your resume by giving you points every time they see those words. That's why you have to change your resume every single time you send it off to a company. I repeat, you must change your resume every single time you upload it. There's no such thing as a good general resume that you can just always use. You will not even get a good general job that way. You have to adjust it every time, especially if you are uploading your resume to a company that uses applicant tracking systems, and that is increasing. It's probably getting close to 70% now. So let's take a look at this example. We've also spread out those words for another reason. Eventually, if it makes it through the applicant tracking system and your resume scores a high enough score, it's going to be seen by a person. Now, within about 15 to 20 seconds, somebody can read this resume very quickly and very easily. Look how nicely everything is spread out. The dates are all in predictable places. We've even bolded the first line in every listing to say, hey, here's something new. Hey, here's something new. Hey, here's something new. We are doing everything we can to help out that reviewer. Now, some of these people get into these colorful resumes. Well, how are you going to read that? You got to sit here and interpret. Well, what do all these skills mean? This person is rating themselves. They're rating themselves on these skills. How do I know they're not lying? Okay. The other thing about applicant tracking systems is they read your resume from left to right. So an applicant tracking system is going to read this one, San Francisco, California, San Francisco, California, Oakland, California, which is going to make no sense to the applicant tracking system. So these non-standard layouts are ridiculous. Don't use them. Don't listen to people who tell you to use these. Now, of course, if you're going to hand deliver this resume to someone, it's not going through applicant tracking systems. But we still default to number 2, and number 2 is somebody's got to try to read this thing. Look at all these. This woman's using paragraphs. Who wants to sit there and read a paragraph? Look at these. You know, successfully is an adverb. You never start a bullet point with an adverb. You always start with action verbs. This thing is readable in 30 seconds or less by the human eye and readable by applicant tracking systems. So, real quickly, some features of this resume. This is 1-inch margins on all sides. So as I zoom out, look how nicely framed this thing is on all sides, all 4 sides, beautifully framed. Look at even this right-hand margin is nice and tight. I'm going to show you how we did this. This shows attention to detail. It says, I pay attention to detail. Look how crisp this is. Now, how we accomplish those right-hand justifications, let me reveal codes. Notice that there's only 1 tab strike there. We hit the tab key 1 time, and it jumped clear out here. And the reason that happened is if you look up here at the top, you can see this right-hand justified tab setting. Let me show you what most people do. Okay, I'm going to clear that tab setting out of there, which is under paragraph and tab. We're going to clear all. Here's what most people do. They go tab, 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 space, space, oh, too far back. So tabs and spaces. But when you put all these artifacts in your document, they can trip up applicant tracking systems. So leave all those artifacts out. Instead, come up here to paragraph and a tab. And over here is your right-hand margin at 6.5, 6.5. Tell it to write justify on the tab, set, okay, and then hit the tab key, and it just jumps right out there for you. Now, the other thing this thing has is the key characteristics or our key skills section. You want to change this every time. You read the job description, and then put in the key skills that they're looking for, and then you want to seed all these bullet points with examples. So it's like saying, I am, and here's examples. I am, and here's examples. That way you can focus on those things, and you're going to mention those skills numerous times throughout your resume, and you'll get higher scores on the applicant tracking system. Now what we did here is we just listed them all in a big line, and then we put them into 2 columns. Notice how we use open bullet points. The reason we use open bullet points is because these aren't bullet points. Bullet points always, 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 did I mention always? Always start with a action verb. Past tense action verbs with the ED for past tense jobs and organizations. Present tense action verbs for present tense jobs. So let's check out some of these. Here's somebody who had some related experience. They created a separate section for related experience because remember, resumes have to be in reverse chronological order. You start with your most recent job and you work backward in time. But this one ended in December 2019, and she still has a present job. She didn't want her internship ending up the second listing under experience, so she created a separate section called related experience. But take a look at these. This is past tense: supported, represented, designed, motivated, and then assure, inspect, price, serve, exceeded, aided, supervised. That's the kind of person I want to hire, and that's why we always, always, always start our bullet points with action verbs, always. And then we kind of unpackage the experience for them. Now, please don't put things like mop floors, work register, greeted guests. The future employer doesn't care about that. And in fact, if you mop floors and greeted customers and worked the register, maybe at a restaurant or something, you're not going to do that with a bachelor's degree. You have to package that experience in the language of the reader, in the language of the reader. Read the job description and understand what they're looking for. So if they're looking for particular skills, knowledge, abilities, and experiences, unpackage the job in a way that they can understand why it's relevant. Don't just say mop floors and then assume that the reader knows why mopping floors is relevant to becoming a social worker or to becoming an exercise physiologist or relevant to becoming a physical therapist. You have to take mop floors and then pull the skills out that you develop. So remember, every bullet point needs to answer at least 2 questions. At least 2 questions. Mopped floors answers 1. What did you do? Mop floors. Not good enough. That's not a bullet point, although it does start with an action verb. So here are some of the questions that you could be answering with your bullet points. Remember, every bullet point needs to answer at least 2 questions. What did you do? Why did you do it? Mop floors to maintain a clean environment. Oh, we've answered 2 questions. For whom did you do it? Mop floors to maintain a clean environment for customers. Oh, now we answered 3 questions. What did you do? Why did you do it? For whom did you do it? How many times did you do it? How much money did you handle? How many volunteers did you raise? What were the outcomes of you doing it? Mop floors to maintain a clean environment and promote return customer visits. Oh, there's the outcome. So great. Or what skills did you build doing it? Mop floors to maintain a clean environment and promote return visits, building skills in strong work ethic and stick-to-itiveness, whatever. Work with a career coach and we're going to help you feather those out. Now we've got a great bullet point. We are using all cap headings. You don't have to use all cap headings, but notice something very interesting. After this heading, there's no space. After this heading, there's no space. No space after this one. No space after this one. Consistent. Remember, resumes need to be recent, college and sooner, relevant. You've got to write the bullet points relevant to the reader, not relevant to what you know the job to be, but relevant to what you want them to think about the job or the organization. Clear. You got to have really well-written bullet points. Concise, 1 page for most majors, and consistent. Same spacing, same caps, same underlining, and all that, all the way through. It shows attention to detail. What else can I tell you here? Emails. Here we use the Gmail. Remember that at Slippery Rock University, you are going to lose your email a few months after you graduate. Please do not start uploading a resume to applicant tracking systems with your SRU email on there. Junior year, you should be taking your SRU email off there unless you're going to go to grad school here, because when you upload to an applicant tracking system, it scans the resume, creates a profile for you, and that will live on long past the time you applied for the job. So what that tracking system is going to continue to do is read your resume over and over and over every time a new job is posted on their system. And so what it's going to do is eventually it's going to find a job that you are a good fit for. And it's going to try to email you, hey, we found a job in our system. You had applied a long time ago. Would you like to apply for this job? You won't get the email if you keep using your SRU email. By junior 1, I want to see it off of there and stop using that. Don't believe people who tell you don't put your address. Just like some people say, well, I'm going to go look for a job in Denver. I shouldn't put my Pittsburgh address on there. Lie, lie, lie. Put your address on there. If you're applying for a job in Denver, that company knows that you're interested in moving to Denver. Don't worry about all that. Don't believe people who tell you that sort of stuff. Remember to put your expected graduation date. Don't put the time you were at Slippery Rock. A lot of people have been here for 4.5 years, 5 years, and companies will actually dock you for that. Oh, you didn't finish in 4 years. Not under consideration. Just tell them when you expect to graduate. You interns, people searching for internships, especially if your internship occurs after you walk, do not put May as your graduation date, because company applicant tracking systems will read that, think you graduated in May, which makes you unqualified for an internship. You can't do an internship unless you are in your studies. That's what an internship is. So put August as your graduation date if you're seeking a summer internship after you walk. Grade point average. Don't put it on there unless you're a 3.0 or higher. You don't believe me? Come in the career office. I will show you a powerful study with over 100,000 data points that proves do not put your GPA on your resume unless it's a 3.0 or higher. You don't have to list all the semesters you are on the dean's list. Just say how many, if you would like to do that. Professional development, that's what we're calling student organizations. Now, you may have been in 3 or 4. Please do not just list student organizations. Here they all are. That reader has no idea what those 4 student organizations are. So just list 2 of them and put some bullet points that unpackage the experience in light of that job. In any case, it's your future. Take charge of your future and make sure you come in and talk with a career professional in career education and development. And thanks for being a part of this SEA Academy Digital Master Class. Have a great day.